Welcome to Evolution of Self with me, Britannia. Hello. So today I want to talk to you about the inner narrative that we have going on inside of our heads. I think somewhere it's been called the monkey mind or whatever it is. Now, sometimes that inner narrative can be very positive. It can build you up and make you feel good about yourself. Sometimes it can make you feel too full of yourself. But at other times, it can really tear you down and make you feel horrible about yourself. And somebody I know recently, it was through a conversation with them that I decided to share this with you because their inner narrative really beat them up quite dreadfully. They didn't think that they were any good at the work that they did. They felt that they were always handing things in late, that they weren't disciplined enough to get done what they wanted to do. And they just built this whole thing up to feel like they really couldn't do and couldn't function in the world like everybody else could. And what I noticed was it wasn't so much their actions, but it was the conversation that they had with themselves around these actions that made them feel quite sort of disparaging, quite depressed is not the right word because I don't know if they would describe themselves as depressed, but down, definitely down, as if they were struggling with the weight of the world on their shoulders. And the only thing that did this to them was them. And the more that they tried to catch up, and the more they tried to achieve more and more, and the more they failed, the more that they convinced themselves that this narrative was the right narrative. Now, the reason I'm sharing this is because it's twofold. So first of all, you can change your actions. And second of all, you can change your narrative. I'm not going to share, there's actually something that I'm going to share next week that's linked to changing the narrative, but I'm going to focus on what I'm going to share with you this week first. So I think I've done an episode about believing in yourself. And what I'm going to cover now is something very similar to that. To increase your self-belief, whether it is in achieving things or believing that you can do what you say you're going to do, it's a very simple process. You need to stretch yourself in the things that you set yourself to do by 20%. Nothing more than 20%. I mean, if you want to challenge yourself more, you can, but just be aware that as far as you stretch yourself, you will be challenged in turn. Now, this particular person I was talking to challenged themselves a lot. And they had a lot of expectations of themselves to the point where what they were trying to achieve was unachievable. And so, of course, they were going to fail. And the more that they failed, the more they felt bad about it. And the more that they beat themselves up and told themselves that they couldn't do things. So to change this, I would say you change the goals you set yourself. You change the stretch you give yourself and reduce it down to 20%, especially in the beginning if you've been giving yourself a really hard time. So look at your day and say, okay, today I'm going to do whatever it is, and make sure that that only stretches you 20%, and make that the only absolute goal that you have for that day. And also make sure that you do it. Because the more that you achieve those things, the more you change your subconscious's belief about what you're capable of. And the more you do that, the better you'll feel about yourself. So that's the one step. The second step is to catch yourself when you start saying negative things to yourself in your head, and to change it. Change it to something that's believable. Change it to, I might not have got this yet, because I might not have got this yet is a lot more positive than I'm never going to get this, or I can't do this, or I'm useless. So change it up so that it feels comfortable, but it still feels truthful to you. You could change it to, but I have determination and I'm still trying. Because if you're listening to this and putting this into place, then you are still trying. And that feels good too. So it's to learn to play with the words so that it's truthful and in line with what you're doing and who you are, but it's not about beating yourself up. So those are the two things you can do to start to change the narrative if you find that you're someone who beats themselves up a lot and puts themselves down. Because we sometimes are our own worst enemy. We talk about other people being abusive and bullies and whatever else. And quite often, we are the worst culprits in our own lives. Now, there's something else that you can do, and it's called a research question, and it's something I do with my clients. But as I said, I'm going to share this with you next week. So you're going to have to tune in, or you can put a subscribe thing on so that you get an alert when it comes out. As usual, there's loads of links in the show notes below. There's a link to my Happiness Boost course, which is a 7-day free course if you want to try it. And there's also links to my website, to my social media, and to a few other bits and pieces that you might be interested in. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully I'll see you again next week. Lots of love. Bye-bye.